Well, Infowars.com, Dr. Jerry Corsi has been all over the Sheriff Joe story. I guess it was about a week ago, Dr. Corsi, you were releasing the story how the White House was keeping this information from Trump. Then you had the story about how they were trying to get the information to Trump. Now it's gotten a step further. The mainstream media has picked this up, and it looks like Trump is even considering a pardon. Dr. Corsi, what do you know?
Well, I think, Owen, you're right. I mean, the reporting we did brought the attention of the White House to the fact that Sheriff Arpaio had been convicted of this misdemeanor criminal contempt charge. He had been denied a jury trial. He'd been charged on the wrong statute. The correct statute, the statute of limitations, had run out. And so what we're facing now is that this is really a revenge prosecution that was started by the Obama Department of Justice, really punishing Sheriff Arpaio both for his enforcing the immigration laws and his investigating Barack Obama's birth certificate. Tom Perez was behind this prosecution. He's now the head of the DNC. He is a La Raza radical lawyer who comes out of Maryland, and he had a real grudge on Joe Arpaio, really determined to prosecute him. So this information now, because of our reporting at Infowars, has reached the White House, and the most recent reports are that President Trump is planning to go down to Arizona next Tuesday, August 22nd, and that Sheriff Arpaio might be pardoned before that trip occurs, or maybe even on the day of that trip. But clearly we have the attention of the White House, and it's now being reported by the mainstream media.
Do you expect President Trump to make a statement somewhere along the lines of this witch hunt against Arpaio and why it happened?
I think so, and I think it's really a egregious case. You've got a situation here where an order was given by a court to stop certain practices of, stopping cars on the highway and investigating the occupants of the car, looking for illegal immigrants, saying that you can't stop the car based on the fact that the driver occupants are Hispanic. And of course, Sheriff Arpaio always denied that that was the motive behind the car stops. And in fact, he was trying to enforce the immigration laws so that if there was a car stop for a legitimate reason other than race, and the people in the car were investigated in terms of who they were, yes, well, then immigration laws could be enforced, and the Sheriff Arpaio was determined to do so. And the Obama administration was trying to back law enforcement off enforcing immigration laws, and that's continuing with the Obama holdovers in the Department of Justice that now still want to prosecute Sheriff Arpaio, and a judge who seems politically biased against Arpaio and really did not take into consideration the evidence that occurred at the bench trial. This whole thing, to me, looks like a witch hunt. It looks like it's a politically motivated prosecution, and it's one in which Sheriff Arpaio deserves a pardon because truly he's 85 years old. He's had a 40-year history in law enforcement. He's never had a blemish on his record. I think this is a real hero of law enforcement that campaigned for President Trump early on in January 2016. And President Trump, I think, now needs to acknowledge that Joe Arpaio is being prosecuted unfairly.
Jerry, we're short on time. Who in the White House was responsible for keeping this from getting to Trump?
Well, I'm not sure, but I mean, I think part of the problem with General Kelly is he's going to try to keep any news coming from Infowars or any of the other channels that are really in touch with Donald Trump's base from reaching Donald Trump and insulate him to a prepackaged kind of mainstream media approach to the news. I don't think it's going to be successful. I think Donald Trump follows Infowars. He certainly followed the reporting that I've done over the years. And I think this case in Sheriff Arpaio is a clear indication that this is the case. And I think Roger Stone would support that.
And thanks to our audience, too, we can get these messages to Trump. We'll be right back.